from Abuja.
Hello, thank you for being a part of our show. We appreciate you. I'm Magnus Kpakol, and this is Magnus Kpakol GVA. As always, it's all about how we can raise the level of living. That's what it's all about. In view today, any Trump effect for Africa. So Donald Trump has won the most extraordinary US election in recent memory and is now President-elect of the United States of America. Ambassador Joe Keshi, a seasoned former diplomat who has served Nigeria in the United States, will share with us what lessons Mr. Trump's victory serves for Nigeria and Africa. But before that, in our hidden economics, to be the best leader. Now, up next in our quick view, we rank countries using the so-called Sustainable Economic Development Index. That's coming right up. Which countries are able to convert their economic growth into well-being? Researchers at the Boston Consulting Group in the United States have designed something called Sustainable Economic Development Assessment as a possible alternative to gross domestic product per capita in measuring well-being. A Sustainable Economic Development Assessment Index tracks 160 countries across three elements: economics, sustainability, and investment. These elements are made up of 10 dimensions, which include factors such as income inequality, health, education, infrastructure, and employment. In this connection, which of the following countries ranks the best at converting economic growth into well-being? Norway, Netherlands, Finland, and Germany. Which of the following African countries have made the most progress in converting economic growth into well-being? Ethiopia, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, and Ghana. Stay with us for our answers coming up shortly. Still in view, Ambassador Keshi on any Trump effect for Africa. But up next in our hidden economics, to be the best leader.
She says she want the man, we go do I'm good. She says she want the kind of man, no, we go do I'm better. I hear you want the man, we go come impress. They say you request the kind of guy, we go give you the best, yo, the best, yo, the best, yo. Oh yeah, Janet, yo, Janet, yo. The best, yo.
When a guy wants a lady, he promises to be the best. He indeed goes out of his way to do what he thinks she would want. Ladies, you may be surprised to know that guys have learned the secret. They know you like to fantasize. So guys try to fit into your fantasy in order to win your heart. In the hit song, The Best, Nigeria's great artist, Dr. Sid, plays it up by saying some of the things a guy has to do to show he is the best for you, so he can win your vote, girl. For a guy to win and keep your heart, he comes up with surprises, takes you out to special places, buys you things, and even gives you double. As Dr. Sid says in the hit song, he will break the fence, raise your level, and the world will belong to you. Man, that's pretty serious. What a man will say to win a lady's heart. But you know what? That's what politicians also say to voters when they are running for office. They will tell you that they will be the best. indeed that they will give you the best. They also say things like they will raise your level. And if you are in Nigeria, they will tell you that they will bring you electricity 24/7. They will pay your school fees. They will give you contracts. They will do anything. So all well and good. But here is what you need to do, whether as a boyfriend, husband, or political leader. Do memorable things, especially those that will provide a good experience and raise the level of living. Here are some people that did that. Abraham Lincoln. His efforts to abolish slavery culminated in the Emancipation Proclamation, which was issued on January 1, 1863. Mohandas Gandhi. He led the fight for Indian nationalism against British rule. His celebrated use of non-violent protests inspired similar movements in support of rights and freedoms around the globe. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was a leader in the African American civil rights movement and best known for his role in the advancement of civil rights. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela led South Africa's fight against segregation and apartheid. His government focused also on fostering racial reconciliation. If you want to be a leader, just give the best. Our hidden economics for Before we start our discussion, here are our quick view answers. Worldwide, Norway ranks the best at converting economic growth into well-being. Ethiopia is the African country that has made the most progress in converting economic growth into well-being. For comments, adverts, and sponsorship, please see our information displayed on the screen. Donald Trump has won the election and has become the president-elect of the United States. So what happens now? Can he become the best for America and the rest of the world at the same time? Can he become the best for Africa? Certainly, it better not be what Trump can do for Africa, but instead, I believe it should be what grounds, common grounds, can a President Donald Trump share with African leaders? So can there be any Trump effect on the African political economy? And so where is Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, in all of that? To discuss this, we have with us Ambassador Joe Keshi, former chairman of United Bank for Africa, UBA, and also a seasoned former Nigerian diplomat. Please join me in our discussion with Ambassador Keshi. All right, Ambassador, thank you very much for being in our studios again.
Thank you.
I think you've been here a couple of times before, so we're always very privileged to have you on our show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. Well, today we're going to be talking about the so-called Trump effect. You know, Donald Trump has become president-elect of the United States. So, and he's going to be ready to roll out his programs. Africans are waiting, looking at him. Well, what do you think that means for Africa? You know, we're just looking forward. What do you think that a Trump presidency has to say for Africa?
Number one is it's difficult to say, more because Africa did not feature as an item or as a campaign issue. When, for example, you think of China, NATO, Europe, and the rest, and where we did feature, you know, there was some negative comments by Trump against Africans and African leaders. And I think in one comment he did say that funds sent to the continent are often stolen by the leaders. So with that kind of mindset, we have someone coming into the White House that is not, to start with, very friendly or has a complementary thoughts towards the continent. But my take is that if you go down in history, no American president has come to the White House with Africa on its
agenda. Yes.
And in terms of Africa, in terms of priorities, on a scale of 1 to 10, Nigeria and Africa is number 10 in American global agenda. So we just have to wait and see, what happened. But what I believe African leaders should do is not to rush to Washington as they tried to do when Obama came to power. I think what they should do is to prepare themselves to engage Trump.
Okay.
To prepare themselves to make a case to maintain the relationship between Africa and America. In our case, I also believe that that's what we need to do, because the bulk of investment fund coming into this country, well over 70-something% or more, actually is from the United States. So in that sense, America is an important trading partner and investment partner to us. So we just have to keep our minds open. And
therefore, it probably means that he may be more amenable to trade than to aid.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So maybe Africans should set up an agenda where they go and engage him right away on trade and say we are pivoting from aid to trade.
I believe we should do away with some of the things we've done in the past, like appealing to these guys to help us.
Yes.
As if we are retarded or we are, we can't help ourselves. No, we just can't help ourselves. So you say to this, oh, we want you to come and help us. I don't think that would, I think the guy would like to know what you have that they want to trade in. There are a lot of American goods. He would like to know how many do you want to buy and what we can buy from you.
What do we have, what we can sell to America?
Again, that is where we are at a disadvantage, because what we want to sell beyond oil. And he has said that he's going to open up the energy opportunities in the United States. If he does that, then it therefore means that we're going to find ourselves in some serious crisis. That, just like when this Franklin thing came on board, we ran into some challenges. But the point still remains that we should engage him, as you said, prepare an agenda for trade and investment.
Now, because China has been making strong inroads into Africa, being buddy-buddy with African leaders, and especially with the African Union, America has seen that as another kind of attempt at neocolonialism, this time by the Chinese, and that Africa was falling for it. Do you see a Donald Trump trying to be competitive? Because we cannot minimize the fact that Africa has a lot of commodities, resources that America wants, natural resources outside of oil. And that's what the Chinese are coming for, to use for whatever it is that they're using for.
Like what, for
uranium, copper.
No, but where do they get their uranium from now? Where do they get their copper from now? Look.
So the Chinese are getting it easier. So could it be that Americans come and say, all right, we want to nudge the Chinese away just a little bit and not have this Chinese dominance for international political reasons?
No. For a guy who wants to pull American back from Europe, for example, from Asia, and let everybody take care of their problems. I don't see him deciding.
No, but this is trade. He wants to
no.
buy something.
Even in trade, I don't see him deciding that Africa is going to be the new battleground between China and the United States. If they were going to do that, they would have started doing that. Look, what are we getting from China? We're getting a lot in terms of cheap products from China.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot in terms of loans for infrastructure.
Yeah.
And we are getting these things more because our traditional friends more or less abandoned us or just didn't care anymore about us. Take, for example, I don't know how many British companies are still left in this country. We may have affiliates, but there was a time the British and Dutch companies dominated, the Nigerian market.
Yes.
I have always, in recent times, I've looked at some of the things we need to do, and I begin to say that, look, let's start with concessioning out roads, because I do not believe we have enough resources to build all the roads in this country, both federal and state government. So let's bring in the private sector. So if you give it to the private sector, but I insist that you make it foreign Nigerian company, and we create the standard for these roads to be built. Look, if you earmark 25 roads to be built by the federal government, another maybe 30 or more by the state government, and advertise it around the world. That you can build this road, you can tow them and make your money over a period of 15 to 20 years.
Yes.
You see a number of foreign companies coming looking for Nigerian partners to build this road.
I agree.
And we will save significantly.
Yes.
And look, corruption in this road construction business is probably more than the corruption we are currently admitting. So that will remove a chunk of government away from this. Today, only Lagos Airport, maybe Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano are viable. Airports.
In Port Harcourt.
Port Harcourt.
But in the sense that planes land there.
Not
because the buildings.
No, not the buildings. Don't forget the buildings. Yes. And that's part of the problem.
Okay.
Look, we were saying it before we came in here. When you travel, you get to an European airport in the morning.
Yes.
You can actually begin to quantify or look at the economy from what you see at the airport. When you come to Africa, in our own case, there's probably one or no plane at all in any of our airports.
Yes.
So the point I'm trying to make is that let us create opportunities for investment in this country that will enable people outside
So you're
to
saying
look
that
at the country and say we can invest in Nigeria.
You're saying that President Trump, being a businessman, will be looking for an environment that's ready for business.
Oh, sure.
And so Africa should be showing itself as we're ready for business.
This is a man who says all he wants is to win in trade negotiations. He wants America to be involved, but must win.
Yes.
And of course, he knows.
But what does that mean? That he must win?
That means that, look.
That the other people, that means the other guy will lose.
Look, when you go into a negotiation.
If I win, then can we both win?
Yeah, sure. When you go into a negotiation, it is you take a little, I take a little. It becomes a win-win situation for everybody.
All right.
His anger is that, to quote him, that America is being raped, particularly by China, the way they do things.
Yes.
So, for example, Chinese goods can come into America. Some American goods going into China are heavily taxed.
Yeah.
And this is what he wants to do. So that's, look, the bottom line is that we are dealing with a businessman who understands the world of business, who believes that the world has not been fair. They've taken advantage of America. So any negotiations going into the future, there must be a position that enables America to win from its involvement.
Okay, so now let's negotiate.
They are not interested.
Let us then negotiate the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, because goods are coming from Africa into America duty-free. Is Donald Trump winning there since he must win? Is that a win for him? Given the way the just concluded U.S. presidential election turned out, can anyone safely predict what President Donald Trump's program for Africa will look like? What common grounds could he be likely to share with Africa and African leaders? The president-elect has obviously been a very successful international businessman, so he is likely to use a transactional foreign and economic policy with Africa. Quite frankly, no one should claim to know, given the abysmal way in which the pundits, posters, and media performed in predicting whether Trump was going to win the election. So some people are saying that maybe Africa should wait and see. But should Africa really wait and see? I usually don't like to wait and see, because then you typically get what the other party wants and not what you want. But before even talking about Mr. Trump's presidency, did Africa learn any lessons from the manner in which Mr. Trump won that election? He didn't have the Republican establishment. He didn't seem to have big media. He didn't even have as much as a day's experience serving in government. Yet he won a highly contested Republican Party primaries and then defeated the well-oiled Obama-Clinton machine. How did he do it? Well, he had a message that resonated with much of the population. I know there are all kinds of theories out there about how Mr. Trump won mostly because he appealed to white voters. Well, at least for now, you have to appeal to white voters if you're going to become the president of the United States. After all, in 2008, Barack Obama won 43% of white voters and a stunning 54% of young white voters. The lesson is that the people must appreciate your message and vote for you. If that happens, you won't need to fudge and cheat or fight. You will just win. I think the people of Africa, especially the young people, are watching and will start to look for someone whose message appeals to them, regardless of ethnicity, political experience, or religion. So now, what about programs like the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, where Africa can get many products into America duty-free? How about the Millennium Challenge account that provides financial support for fighting poverty through growth? How about the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR? How about support for climate change funding in Africa and support in the fight against terrorism on the continent? How about buying crude oil from, say, Nigeria? Will President Trump continue these programs? Candidate Trump did not seem to like trade arrangements that weighed against the United States. Can African leaders arrange to reach President-elect Trump before his inauguration on Friday, January 20th, 2017? I believe that President Trump will be fair toward Africa and that Africa can have mutually beneficial gains with America, but African leaders will have to help work it out. Donald Trump is a businessman. He's going to be all about trade and not aid. I'm Magnus Kpakol, and that's my view.